Will the patrons be happy with your work? Will your masterpieces stand the test of time as you try to build the most successful atelier?
Hey guys, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're reviewing Atelier, the painter's studio from AEG. It's designed by Patrick Marino and Jim DiCamillo.
It's a 2 to 4 player dice action selection engine building set collection game that actually plays in a quick 30 minutes. AEG sent us a copy of the game, so let's take a look at how it's played.
To set up the game, shuffle the painting deck and reveal 7 paintings.
Place the patron deck, tokens, and paint nearby.
Give each player their player board, student meeples, dice, and 1 inspiration token.
Deal 2 patron cards to each player. They will choose one and discard the other.
Choose a start player and in reverse turn order have each player place 1 student by 1 pile of paint, and then you're ready to begin.
On your turn, you will roll your active dice and will either spend 1 to take an inspiration token or spend 1 or more to take an action.
1s or 2s will allow you to place a student on a paint pile.
3s allow you to move up to 1 student from each player to a different paint pile.
4s are used to collect paint from every pile where you have the majority.
5s are used to paint paintings by spending the required paint and sometimes students. Paintings have actions that are sometimes ongoing or immediate, and 6s allow you to gain 1 paint from any pile.
At any point on their turn, players may also spend their inspiration tokens. They can offer re-rolls, paint additional paintings, or gain more patrons.
Players must choose how many of their action dice to spend at once, because play continues around and around the table for the round until every player has used all of their action dice.
Once the round ends, players reactivate all of their dice and play continues until someone has painted their 3rd masterpiece painting. The round finishes and 1 more round is played before points are tallied.
The player with the most points and ultimately the most prestigious studio wins. Atelier is a dice allocation game that features really a plethora of different mechanics. You've even got some area control in there in the way that you're dominating those paint colors. Being able to keep track of what everybody else is doing in the game and what you're doing in the game is going to be crucial to your success in this one and to becoming a fantastic painter.
Yeah, you're managing a studio. That's what the word atelier means, painter's studio, for those of you who didn't know. And so they've used several different paintings from the 19th century, Impressionism, Post-Impressionism, and so on. And you are taking the role of a painter in charge of a studio. Your students must go out and collect paint and then paint the paintings. You will use those students and they will need to have the majority on those different paint piles to make sure that you can collect the paint you need for a specific painting.
And then you get to roll some good dice in order to be able to take advantage of those. The components in the game are really cool. You've got that painter's palette that you're using as your tableau, basically. You're keeping track of all your resources from there. And then being able to do things like that, roll that 4, which is a crazy thing. We actually didn't even play that right the first time. Being able to move other players' painters around so that you can then give yourself that majority. You've got a lot of really interesting choices in this game.
And then what adds to it is every painting that you complete has some type of action on it. Some of those are immediate and happen right away, and others are ongoing throughout the game, and that's where the engine building comes in, because you can give yourselves bonuses and helps along through the game.
Right, and you're really only trying to get, in order to end the game and hopefully win the game, you've got to get the paintings that are marked with the little crown on it, but you can get as many, you can do as many paintings as you want. That's where you get your victory points from. Some are going to give you more powerful engine building abilities. Some are going to give you really high victory points. Some you're just going to say, I've got these paint colors, I'm going to buy that painting because I've got the ability to. So those are even more choices that you got to make in the game.
Yeah, and in addition to all of that, there's the patrons. Those are some end game goals that you have for yourself. You can gain additional patrons throughout the game using the inspiration tokens, and those can add some extra victory points at the end of the game because those are hidden objectives that you can fulfill.
I think they did a really good job on this one. I've seen some games that have tried to be artist-ish in their approach and in their theme. This one actually, the paintings look good on the cards. Sometimes people will use free stock painting images that they can get a hold of, and they just don't employ them well. I think AEG did a really good job of packaging this one, and it looks really sharp.
Yeah, they partnered with some of the major museums in the United States, the Met and the National Gallery and the Art Institute in Chicago, the Getty, to gain the rights to use these images. So if you're looking for something that's educational, you can learn a lot. The paintings also have markings as to which time period they're grouped into, and so that adds to the educational ability. I did like the rule book. It looks like a brochure pamphlet from one of the museums, which is kind of a nice touch to the game. They attempted to make it colorblind friendly. The paint swatches on the paintings all have a little bit different brushstroke, but the pieces,
a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit different. You could distinguish them if you're really having a hard time. But the paint buckets themselves are all the same color, so I could see how there could be some issues with that's what I meant. Same shape. There are different colors, but same shape. So I could see how there'd still be a little bit of issue colorblind wise, how this would be a little bit difficult to play. Being said, they did use colors that were from this time period, the paints that they were using. I wish they would have tweaked those maybe a little bit. Instead of just using a standard yellow, maybe have a little bit of a yellow ochre or something, but that's being really picky and coming from somebody who has studied painting and this time period.
If Atelier sounds like something you'd be interested in, definitely check it out from AEG. Thanks so much for liking and subscribing. Put some comments in the comments below so that we can answer them about all your art questions. And then be sure to share the video with all your friends. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Catch you next time. Little stuttery at the end there. Atelier, Atelier, Atelier.
This is designed by Dan Patrick. Thought I was going to say Dan Marino, but...
Dan Marino. He designs board games now. Game, including some area control. There's definitely the idea of resource management-y stuff.
Your arm looks weird with both of us having our elbows. That's
I'll do a Katie or a Ryan.